Hey, welcome to this episode of Kettlebell Corner with Iron Revival. I'm Coach Jeremiah Whalen here with Coach Roger Parks. And today, our special guest coach is Coach Cambio. And the Red Gorilla, if you see him on Instagram, he's a strong first elite instructor amongst many other things. And we have some real solid reasons why we want to have him on here today. But Coach, why don't you just give us a quick rundown about yourself, and then we'll dive right in.
All right. Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me. First off, excited. But for me, real simple. I'm a strength conditioning coach. I've been in this for, I don't know, over 20 years now. I started out as a football player, and then I ended up originally going back into BMX and downhill mountain biking. So that's after college. And I needed to train somewhere. I ended up training at a sports-specific facility, sports performance type facility. Loved it. They told me I should look into coaching myself. I kind of poo-pooed it, blew it off a bit, went back to college, my second degree for education, became a high school teacher, football coach in high school, which is like my absolute passion is football and athletes. And but while I was there, I was coaching the kids, and they just kept getting hurt all the time. I'm talking like every day someone's limping off the field, pulling something, breaking something. You know, it's getting pretty bad. So kind of went back to my roots of strength conditioning where I was training, and called up my old mentor and said, hey, what do I got to do to get certified? Because these kids are getting hurt all the time. And they were doing like the classic, body parts, Arnold Schwarzenegger type workout for off season, in season training, like they had back in by day for football players. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, come on. So I took over the program, got certified, got my CSCS. And that was kind of the launching pad from there. And I just started training athletes. I was a high school teacher, like I said, coaching football. Then I started doing the off-season program for the football players. It branched out into other athletes like basketball, and then off-season with lacrosse, softball, baseball. Next thing you know, all the coaches were asking me to work with their kids. And then if I trained adults, and it just kind of morphed into that. And I stayed a teacher for about 10 years, bounced around with that because I followed my wife through medical school and her first residency and all that good stuff. And by the end of the day, I loved teaching. I did all strength conditioning in the summer with my athletes. Decided eventually, after moving 2 or 3 times, that I didn't like getting bumped down the pay scale for tenure for teachers, and decided just to open up my own facility. So I did that for, I don't know how long I did it, 8 years or so. And then when I moved to New Hampshire, which was 8 years ago, I sold it, came up here, got hired by Pavel to teach his one-day kettlebell course, got hired by Spartan to teach their education programs. So being the teacher obviously helped me land these other jobs. I just changed the arena I teach in. So I've been an educator my whole life, and now I just educate in the strength world, strength conditioning world. So, and here I am.
Awesome. I love it. And actually, being a football coach and a guy into football, I kind of makes me think about a question that goes over and over in my head about kettlebell training and football. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of the power lifts, you got your deadlifts, your squats, your cleans, and all these things for football with barbell. And you watch Hard Knocks, the shows like this where they show you this behind the scenes of NFL training and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I always thought to myself, it would be so great if more kettlebells were implemented, especially in the on-season strength and conditioning protocols for that. Is that something that you encourage through your athletes if they're in season? Is that a direction you send them, or are you kind of like more of a broad range?
I am a broad range, but I absolutely spend time, assuming I have the time to work with them, to teach them at least how to swing. No matter what, two-handed swing. It's the hip power, it's a football stance. If you look at a kettlebell swing, it is a football stance. You just take that stance where you're in that position. You just lean forward a little bit on your toes. You are in a football stance. You may put one leg back depending on what position, but at the end of the day, it is a football stance, and you need to fire out with a lot of hip power every single play. So every snap of the ball, you're firing out. So you better have very strong hips. So I am all for kettlebell swings for my football, actually all my athletes. I don't think any of my athletes, I teach it to all my athletes, actually. Yeah. I don't teach it to all my one-on-one clients, believe it or not, because they hate bells for some reason. And I'm like, that's my specialty. Let me teach you. But, like I said, I use what they like. I always start with what they like and try and guide them what I think will help them best. So, but athletes, 100% yes to kettlebells.
I've got a question for especially young coaches. For reference, how long does it usually take you to get someone who's reasonably athletic doing a two-hand swing with
Reasonably
some degree of proficiency?
reasonably athletic, you can do it in a day. If they're athletic and they pick things up, I can get it done in a day. In a day, I mean like an hour session. If I just
Sure.
focus on it, no problem. However, I have some clients. I have a client for 3 years. She's a sweetheart. I love her to death. I can't get her swing. She's just not coordinated. Like I can't get her to do it. I try every trick in the book. You call your peers like, hey, I got this client. What do you do? And just is what it is. She deadlifts like a champ. I just can't turn it ballistic.
Can she jump?
She can jump. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, those are the ones that get me. They can
Yeah.
jump, but
So,
it's the same thing. Anyway.
we do
Okay.
other things. We just do other things.
Very good. Very good. When it comes to kettlebells, what do you think is like the most underrated kettlebell skill? And why do you think that is? And why should people do more of it that they aren't doing? I mean, we see a lot of people doing all kinds of stuff on the internet and things like that. And you've programmed for a lot of people. So what's your thoughts?
I'm going to back it up to ballistics in general. I do not think enough people are doing the ballistics bells. If they are doing swings, let's just start with two-handed swings, the baseline. I mean, the whole reason you should get into kettlebells is to swing it. I mean, there's no other tool that you can do with that much power and explosiveness as a kettlebell. So I don't see any other reason to get into it besides that. So swings, two-handed swings, obviously, and then I think you should definitely progress to snatches. I think every athlete should be unilateral and get into snatches for the hip power, the grip strength, the metabolic condition that comes along with it. I mean, so my main two sports are football. I've actually coached football throughout my time from high school coach into youth. I followed my son right up through to 8th grade. So last year was actually my last year coaching football. And every play, if you're on defense, you're grabbing somebody. You need grip strength. So you need to be able to clean and snatch and do all the ballistics. So grip strength is just at a premium. And then my other sport is obstacle course racing. And everything you do for an obstacle is grip based. So if you have a terrible grip strength, you're most likely not going to be good at obstacle course racing. So I think if you touch a bell, you should learn the ballistics, the big three: swings, cleans, snatches. Like hands down, that's what you should master. Everything else you can use another tool for it, including get-ups, but not swings. Don't say a dumbbell. Nobody can swing a dumbbell.
Nobody's saying that here. So
weight, power, what you can do with it, with a bell compared to a dumbbell.
Let's get into the obstacle course racing. So we've got some questions about that. Specifically, what movements, now you just mentioned grip strength, what movements specifically, or what protocols, let's say if we're going with ballistics, what do you really find useful in helping prepare yourself or get other people ready for some of those Spartan races?
Yeah. So, I mean, it comes down to, like, really, in my mind, three things. The first thing is time on your feet. You need to be able to, of course, run. I mean, at the end of the day, the first obstacle is running. And if you're Spartan, Tough Mudder, things like that, you are mostly, at least in New England, I live in New England. So every race you go to here is pretty much up and down mountains. I mean, we just had Killington this past weekend. I mean, you start off mile climb up the hill, so up the mountain. So you got to have strong legs, and those legs have to be strong and be able to carry a load for a long amount of time. Sometimes you have sandbag over your shoulder and you'll hike a mile straight up. So you got to have strong legs, and you have to have that muscular endurance to make it, as well as the cardio aspect. So if you do any research on swings for cardio and running, it's unreal what you can do to save the joints, yet do some type of swing protocol, even EMOMs, like a 20-minute EMOM, and you can improve your cardio through swings, and it's not pounding the joints such as running or hiking is. So absolutely, time on your feet, hike, run, but then mix a lot of swing EMOMs in, or some kind of long swing program. The second thing is always going to be grip strength. Like every obstacle that I can think of that is, besides like a spear throw in Spartan, but that's a skill base. So that kind of comes to athleticism, my third point. But it's grip, it's holding on and be able to go across things, whether it's monkey bars, ring to ring, multi-rigs. climbing up walls, which you need to pull yourself up and over, and you're grabbing it. So everything has to do with grabbing with your hands. So you got to have ridiculously strong grip strength. So kettlebells, ballistics, obviously, cleans actually are my favorite for that as well. So cleans and snatches, any body weight stuff that is suspension based or hanging based. So obviously pull-ups, chin-ups, but any kind of, suspension training works great as well, because it's always you're using your grip for every single movement. And then third thing is just pure athleticism. I mean, you have to be able to run and jump and climb, and you don't know what's coming around the corner, so you have to adapt on the, by whatever is out in front of you, so you may all of a sudden be jumping over something, diving under another, crawling, rolling, popping up, and then going across monkey bars, and then jumping over a pit of fire to end the race. So you need to have all these skills. And I mentioned Spartan, one of the skills that they have, it's actually is a spear throw. So you got to throw that thing like 10 meters and hit a target. So you miss, you got 30 burpees. Who wants to do burpees? I didn't go to obstacle, course race to fail and do burpees. I can do that in the gym. So I choose not to fail. So how do you not fail? You get ridiculously strong upper body, and that usually takes care of the rest. So if you're strong upper body, you usually do fine. So for the obstacle, I'm talking.
Let's get into one of those potential swing protocols you talked about. What would you give us give everybody a sample of what you might recommend someone do to get that strength endurance up?
So I'd start with maybe a 10-minute EMOM. Maybe I like third body weight to start. So a third of your body weight, 10 swings every minute on the minute for 10 minutes. Start from there. Kind of feel it out. What does it feel like? Is it too easy? Obviously, you can either go up in minutes. Like go up to 20 minutes, for example, maybe go to up to 12 to 14, 18, 20 over time, or obviously up the weight, up the load. So, and of course you can mix and match those two variables. But if you start with something, I'd say if your goal is obstacle course racing, I'd start with a 20-minute EMOM, or work yourself up to a 20-minute EMOM with 1/3 body weight for swings, two-handed swings I'm talking. And then of course you can branch off from there into single arm swings and snatches and cleans and things like that. But start with a two-handed swing, own that, and good things will happen.
Awesome. And then so that takes care of obstacle course racing. Would you recommend sort of the same thing for some of those athletes? Let's say you want your football players at minimum to do the two-handed swing in like a conditioning, like a preseason conditioning protocol or an in-season conditioning protocol. Are you kind of going down the same route, or are you going somewhere different with it?
Yes and no. For my football players, and I'm going to speak mostly to the linemen, the running backs. I train quarterbacks a little bit different, receivers a little bit different, but for linemen, quarterbacks, linebackers, tight ends, kind of the bigger guys on the team, I'm trying to get them heavier. Bottom line is heavy, great form every rep, but heavier. Maybe at most 8 to 10 reps for them. Whereas an obstacle course race, I'll probably even depending on the weight they have, the load they have, I may get my obstacle course racer up to 20 reps every minute on the minute. Whereas my football players, no more than 10, because I want heavier weight, moving it, more power, just more raw strength and power out of those guys. And if you look at the timing on a football field, what is it? 5 seconds of work for every 45 seconds of play. I mean, so you have 40-second break every time. So even a minute break in youth. So I want them to be able to be used to that, anaerobic endurance type stuff where they're going all out for a short amount of time and have ample rest to go do it again, Whereas obstacle course racing, I am inching them towards fatigue, because that's what's going to happen in a race as well. You're going to have to just keep going. You're going to have to keep running in the red, so to speak. So you need to get used to feeling like, holy crap, can I keep going? And you got to mentally push through it. So there is different training protocols for the different sport athlete I teach or train or coach. So, yeah. So heavier weight for the footballers. Yes.
Excellent. And being on the subject of ballistics, and since that's an area of emphasis, everybody who does a certification has some sort of snatch test. And this is a fascinating area by anybody who's trained for a certification or wants to just achieve this great feat of 100 snatches in 5 minutes. Many people have different views. What's your strategy when it comes to approaching training for this and actually completing the snatch test on the day of requirement?
So I love the tactical. I'm going to throw that into tactical strength challenge. So, which is 5 minutes, as many snatches as you can get. So, I kind of, at the end of the day, I think everyone should be able to do that. I think that should be your baseline. I really do. So how do I get there? Well, I start with, I'll actually steal a page from Simple and Sinister. I actually love that training protocol, 10 swings every 30 seconds. If you do 10 swings every 30 seconds, you're going to get 105 minutes. So what I do is I tend to start people out with a weight that is under their snatch bell size. So for me, it'd have to be 24 kilos. So for someone newer or building up to it, I'd probably start them at a 20, even a 16, but preferably a 20 if you're a guy. And we start 10 every 30 seconds and see how it goes. If you complete it, awesome. We go up and wait. If you don't complete it, but when we go up and wait, it doesn't mean I necessarily do 10. If I know they can't do 10 every 30 seconds, maybe we do 8, 8 every 30 seconds. And then we just maybe 9 the next week, and then maybe 10. So we gradually work our way up. And then every now and then, because I like it, I throw as many as you can get in 5 minutes. And I don't give them any instruction, just go. I also think that's a fun thing to do. It's a little brutal, but fun.
What's your strategy if you're looking to recertify? Are you one of these guys who picks up the bell, doesn't put it down? Are you working a certain amount of reps per time? What's your strategy?
So my strategy is a little different. I look at whoever is counting my reps and I say, just tell me my number when I ask. That's it. And I go by how I feel. Like I've done it where I've never put the bell down. And I've done it where I've gotten, all of a sudden I've done like 60 in 2 minutes. And I'm like, oh, I got plenty of time. I put the bell down, relax, fast and loose, and get going again. So I just go by how I feel on that day. I don't think about it. I train to be ready all the time. So I call it show and go. So show and go. If you say I have to do a snatch test right now, like right here, right now, fine, let's go. And I'll just tell my counter, please tell me where I'm at. Just spit it out. Like how many I'm at? Cause I'll get it up top. How many? And then they'll tell me, and I'll recalculate as I go what I want to do. So that's it. I try not to stress over it. I just go.
Hey, you ain't got to get ready if you stay ready.
Yeah, but I will say the strategy I've trained with in the past that's helped a few people is that 20-15, 10-5 system. That tends to work for a lot of people because it gives them something to count. So I am fond of that. But game day, also you do 20-20, doing 15 and 15. Sometimes you're just like, holy crap, that's a lot. So, but everyone's a little different. So I kind of figure that out with each person if they're specifically training for something. Like for that, I have 2 people going for SFG. So they're both completely different in how they approach it. So they both have a different strategy. So.
Yeah, it's cool. I think it's kind of interesting. That's like one area where it's like, it's only you. I mean, you're gonna get training for all the other skills, and they're gonna link up. But you gotta, when you're in that moment, that's it. You gotta just either do it or you don't. I like that approach of just how you feel. Some people have said they just kind of focus on relaxing through it, which is helpful. And I know Roger and I, we talk about doing 10 per arm. It's just basically an EMOM, nice, simple, like less to think about for simple minds like mine sometimes. So it's good, very good.
Let's get into the article. Let's get into burpees. This is a fascinating topic because it really gets to the heart of what is acceptable training, what is specific, sport specific. We get into form. There are a lot of opinions about a lot of things, and this is one of them, but very few opinions are actually reasoned and informed. So first, let's tell everybody what I'm talking about. Let's base it on the article. So why don't you talk a little bit about that, a little bit about the article and why you wrote it and how it was received originally.
Okay. All right. So I wrote an article basically to reclaim the burpee as a as an athletic endeavor. As I called it the hardstyle burpee, quite frankly, because I'm strong first and I like the hardstyle principles. And I thought we needed to just give it a true name for what it is today. Because if you go back and look at what Royal Burpee, when he did his PhD on all this stuff, it's not at all what you see today. It was, people call it what do you call it? A thruster, like a squat thruster. That's kind of the name it came up with. Basically, you stand tall, you drop to the ground into a squat, you kick your feet out, and then you kick them back in and you just stand up tall. Like, that's the original burpee. That's what Royal Burpee did for his PhD way back when. And since then, let's be honest, it's been bastardized. It's been turned into this worm dance, this ugly thing that you just have to get your chest to the ground and hop up. Doesn't matter what you look like doing it. You just kind of look like this little wormy dance thing. And quite frankly, I don't see real benefit in that. Yeah, you'll be sucking wind. Yeah, it's quote cardio, but like, I'm very much for we're bang for your buck. So I don't do anything unless I get the most out of it. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, if I'm gonna do burpee and I'm gonna take what's going on today in CrossFit and the Spartan races, if you fail and absolutely you do 30 burpees and, you know, just gyms across America in the boot camp. I mean, you walk in there and you just look at what's going on, you're gonna be like, oh my God, what is that? Like, really, what is it? It's just people flopping around like a fish out of the water. Yeah, and you're out of breath. Okay, yeah, you're getting some cardio from them, but I could just jump on the ground right here and just randomly flop around and do absolutely nothing, and I could be out of breath. So if I'm going to be out of breath, I want to work something. I want to get some benefit out of it. I want it to be athletic. I want it to be explosive, and that's how I think, athletic and explosive, because I play mostly anaerobic sports. So, and then I do dip into the endurance world a little bit with Spartan. So I created basically 3 burpees, or just renamed them. I didn't create anything. I just renamed it. So I took what Royal Burpee did. I looked at his research. He basically timed people for 20 seconds or a minute. So as many as you can do in 20 seconds, as many as you can do in a minute with his form. Great. You know, it's perfect. If you look at our like standards today, or the standards I wrote for the hardstyle burpee, if you can do a minute straight of hardstyle burpees, you're not getting more than 30. Most people will not. If you can get 30 in a minute, you're doing damn good. So that's strict form, explosive. It's kind of like a kettlebell swing. That's why I matched the 2 up, because one is anterior, one is posterior chain. So a kettlebell swing, if you're swinging hard and you're doing 20, 30 swings, if you start to just kind of hold on for the ride and lose your hip pop, your explosiveness, put the bell down, set's over. Well, the same thing applies for burpees. If you're losing that quick pop up off the ground, it's over. Done. Take a rest. Okay. There's no need to keep fighting it and getting all these crazy elbow things like this and worming yourself off the ground. At that point, it's not worth it, because you're not getting any of the other benefits. You're just, again, a fish out of water, out of breath. So I created the hardstyle burpee, which is pretty strict. Your chest has to touch the deck. You pop up, your thighs and knees do not touch the ground. The only thing that touches the ground are your 2 hands, your chest, and your 2 toes. That's it. And you pop up, you have to leave the ground, hands overhead, because I want to simulate the triple extension, athletic triple extension. And then literally, as you're coming down, you touch the ground quickly with your feet and you pop back out and you lower yourself down. So it's kind of like doing plyo push-ups and a squat jump, if you will. That's basically how I look at it. And I want it powerful and explosive. However, I get you're in a Spartan race, you got to do 30. In my mind, I still want to get the benefit. So then I call it a strict burpee, where I may lower myself down, but I may get up slower. It might not be that explosive off the ground, but I'm never breaking midline. I'm staying tight as I go down. So I'm still doing a real push-up and coming back up, but I'm not worming, if you will. Okay. I'm still keeping the integrity of the movement there, getting more bang for my buck. I'm still getting chest, shoulder, tries, and core and all that stuff. And I'm still hopping up, getting a nice, nice little jump there, even though it's quote slower. That I call a strict burpee. And then if you can't do a push-up anymore, it's okay. Be athletic. Do what I call the athletic burpee, which is kind of an updated take on the original burpee, which is just pop to the ground, throw your feet out, and pop back up. So you're never doing the push-up part. That's all. But you will get quicker off the ground, things like that. So, those are my 3 versions. And why? I want them athletic. I want you to get strength and power. I don't want some weird worm dance from the 80s. Keep it in the 80s. Close the yearbook on that one.
So how was the article received at first?
It's so funny. Like, so there's so much dogma in the industry. It's like, oh my God, burpees are the worst. I'll never do burpees. My clients will never do burpees. Da, 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 da. I'm like, that's fine. I don't care what you do. I'm just telling you. But, you know, some people will just still assume I'm talking about these terrible looking burpees that, you know, are done in competition. And I will point out, I'm going to say I have gotten past the point of like, you know, like if it's competition and the standards say you just have to get your chest to the ground and feet have to leave the ground to get up, I get it. I'm okay with it because that's competition. That is not training. My training is always going to be top notch. In competition, I'll meet the standards, you know, as long as, you know, it's not going to put anybody at risk, you know. So I understand where CrossFit went with that and where Spartan went with it. I get it. I understand it. Fine. But if I'm training, let's train for real. Let's get better. Let's get more power and explosion. So when you go to that, you'll find that over time, some of my athletes, they don't do it anymore. They realize that they can maintain a solid pace without doing this ugly worm looking thing. So, yeah, more bang for your buck. That's the way I look at it. But yeah, you'll never, some people just can't convince them that the burpees an athletic movement. I'll never do burpees. That's a stupid exercise in the world. You got some top guys in the industry who poo-poo it and put it out there. And, you know, I just have fun. Every now and then I'll send a video of just being annoying, of showing like a football player, for example, a defensive end coming around the end and he gets blocked and he falls to the ground. But, oh, my God, he hopped up really quick and made a sack.
Yeah,
like,
burpees.
Oh, that's a burpee. Wow, that's a burpee. Or like the
infiltrating our lives.
Yeah, third baseman who jumps as high as they can and catches that line drive, but he's coming down. He's got the ball in the glove, his hand, and he comes right down to the ground into that burpee and pops right back up and holds the ball up in victory. I'm like, that's a burpee. That's a burpee in real life, you know? So, and, you know, and the other one that was kind of funny is I made a comment, you know, just because every now and then I like to just have fun online and I'll needle. I'll needle just because whatever.
Why not?
I'm in the mountains in New Hampshire now and then. I'm bored. I've hiked all day and I'm like, what's going on the internet? So, you know, I said, well, I live in New Hampshire. It's icy. Guess what? You walk outside, you could fall. Well, you better be able to brace yourself, you know? So one of the best comments ever was, I don't train my athletes to fall. I'm like, they're going to fall whether you train them to fall or not. So you might as well at least have them ready to pop up off the ground and make a play, you know? So, you know, it's just funny. Like my daughter's playing soccer right now and she did a slide tackle and boom, or someone did a slide tackle on her, I should say. And she kind of tumbled and popped right back up and got in the play and made a great defensive play. And I was like, oh, look at that. My daughter, you know, she listened to what I said. Well, she didn't listen. She just happened naturally, but funny when I see it happen in real life. Cause you know, all my kids, like if they fall, I'm like, get up, you're still in the play. Don't just stop and watch, you know? So it's just kind of fun like that. So that's kind of, I think, where it evolved from. Like, stay in the play. That's where the burpee came from. Stay in the play. Just because you fall, get up, make it happen, make something happen, do something, get back in the play. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. And you know, that and like kettlebell ballistics and those sorts of things, you know, you get that tension relaxation elements. And I could tell you just, it makes a world of difference. As far as like, modalities and things like that, is there anything that are off limits for you? You don't have people do?
Not really. I will say I don't Olympic lift anymore. When I say Olympic lift, I don't Olympic lift snatch. I'll do cleans and jerks and things like that, but I won't snatch anymore. I won't use a BOSU. I hate BOSUs, just a personal thing. But really, honestly, there's nothing I really won't use. I just have a hard time when people, you know, claim that their one tool is the best thing ever. Like, I love kettlebells. I do. I'm not going to tell you that's the only tool in the world. I love bells. I use barbells. I use sandbags. I use, you know, body weight, a lot of body weight tools, suspension training, things like that, lever equalizers. I use a lot of toys. I get into strongman stuff, you know. That's
good.
If you see me, the one thing I'll say is I'm dogmatic on movement. I believe movement is pure. Movement's movement, no matter the tool you use. But I'm not dogmatic on the implements you use. So I will vary my toys, as I like to say, all the time. I just have some toys that are more favorite than others. That's all. So
How do you structure your own training? Because you look at your IG page and you just got all kinds of interesting, fun stuff you're doing. Um, I imagine some of that is, hey, this is something you can do, but how do you choose the modalities that you combine with your own training?
So again, it goes back to movement. So it's kind of this little article I've been writing that I've not really shared too much with. It's called the menu principle. And it's real simple. I got to pick, I have my movement patterns. I want a hip hinge. I want a squat. I want to push. I want to pull. I want a rotation. I want a core. And then with my athletes, I want to forward, backwards, and change of direction. So all those things have to be in my program somewhere, somehow. So I know I got to have a hinge. So, okay, every Friday I'm deadlifting. That's my hinge on Friday. Every Monday I'm doing some type of swing or some type of complex with kettlebells because I know that'll get my hinge in there. And then I don't know, maybe Wednesday. I don't know, what am I doing right now Wednesday for a hinge? Oh, single leg deadlift. So I want to get unilateral. That's in there too. So I do single leg deadlifts on Wednesday. So I just literally look at a movement and say, okay, I need to do this movement. I'll look at a month or 6 or however long I want to program it for. And I just put it in there. So, like my push for this month, for example, I think Monday I'm doing military press. So that's my push overhead. I'm doing bench press because I haven't bench pressed in like a decade. Because A, I just kind of got away from it because I went more kettlebells, and B, for the last few years, I didn't have a bench press to use, since COVID specifically. But so I'm bench pressing on Wednesday. I don't remember the last time I bench pressed. Years, probably for my SFL was the last time I did it. And then I'm doing a lot of body weight on Friday for that kind of stuff. So just push-ups and things like that. It's just movement's movement. I just changed toy, If I want a full body global movement, I may flip tires. I may throw sandbags. I have 150-pound sandbags, 60-pound sandbags. I'll just toss them overhead, shoulder, slam them down, things like that. I may chop wood. I got a half cord still to go out there. So that may be my global movement of the day, So I mix in what I do outside for what I also do in the gym. And again, comes back to movement. I don't care the tool or the toy, just what are the movement patterns you need to get in, and I program them in. So
I like that. There was only one real problem with that, and that's bench press is on Monday. It's on Monday, so
International Bench.
Just note that. That's really the only problem I saw with that. And that's free advice. Okay,
I'll switch them around. Don't worry.
Okay, thank you. Let's flash back a little bit to your early days of kettlebell training. What's like one big aha? I mean, this is like the thing. Everybody has these aha moments in kettlebell. I still have them to this day. In the evolution of training and all that good things. What's a standout one for you? Maybe from your early days, or maybe from one midway through your training career. What do you got?
So originally, the first aha moment for me was the elbow on clean specifically, and snatches, but clean specifically. I was a caster, man. I cast that thing out there, and my elbows were killing me until where was that? That was the first. That was my original SFG. I had already done way back when with Czar Horton. My HKC, and then of course the split happened with Pavel leaving Dragon Door and the RKC behind and starting strong first. So I followed Pavel. I went to the second cert in Boston, and I can remember we were at a hockey rink, like an indoor hockey type rink thing, like fields, but they had those plexiglass whatever sides. I always tease a couple of the guys that stuck me in the corner and said, stay in the corner and don't come back till you stop hitting the wall, because I would cast out. So from the side, I'd be like, and the bell would go out, but you got to keep it to the side, And they just literally stuck me in the corner and made me do cleans for like an hour until I kept it close to my body and stopped casting it. And that was my first aha moment, because once you get that, it's just a feeling. It's like surfing or snowboarding or I don't know, riding a bike. All of a sudden it's like, oh, that's it. And there goes my elbow pain. And next thing I know, I could clean some crazy weight. And of course I transferred that over into snatches, and it's just been great ever since. But that was my first aha moment, like keep the elbow tight, don't cast the bell out. And sitting in the corner, that was a learning experience.
Made you put your nose in the corner until you cleaned it up. Got it.
Basically, yeah. No, it was like, and I remember the first couple times, like whack, hitting that wall. I'm like,
the maintenance manager, the billing manager is like, what in the hell did we agree to here?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was that guy. I'm like, oh. So yeah, but it was good. It was great. So you don't know what you don't know until you go to one of those certs. So
what are you still working on now? Anything you struggle with, or anything you want to clean up?
So I've actually, I don't know if you're aware, but Strong First has revamped their whole snatch protocol. So I have been working on changing my snatch a little bit. So I have found, at the end of the day, I'm going to sum it up in 2 syllables, 1 word: T-Rex. T-Rex swings are where it's at, man. So if you want to snatch or clean well, learn how to T-Rex. So I used to make fun of T-Rex. I still do make fun of T-Rex. You may see my little videos. I make fun of things just for no reason, except because I feel like doing it. I hate T-Rex swings. When people are telling me that's a kettlebell swing, I hate it because it's not a kettlebell swing. It's a hybrid. So if you want power and explosiveness, you better not have little T-Rex arms, because you want projection to go straight ahead, right? Like out, forward, like football, like you attack forward. That's why I love the 2-handed swing. The snatch, on the other hand, and cleans, well, where's the direction got to go? Straight up. So you want T-Rexy so that you keep the bell close to the body so you can go overhead. So T-Rex does have a purpose. It's just, it's in cleans and snatches. So one of our senior leaders kind of saw my video and was like, you cast still on your snatches. I'm like, what? I cast? On my snatches, if I use my right arm, I still have a little bit of a cast. I think it's because of a couple of surgeries. But my left, I keep a nice tight elbow. So I'm definitely different on the two, and he picked it up. And we did a lot of Zoom calls the first, 3 months of COVID. And I've really changed my snatch a lot. And it's just smoother. I don't know how to say, it's just smoother, cleaner, feels better. It's not as archy. Like I was pretty good at snatches before. Now I feel like I'm like getting really good at them because I've been practicing them a lot, obviously. But yeah, I've really changed the protocol on those, and it's paid quite a few dividends. So that's the newest aha moment, I guess.
Other than the T-Rex swing, are there any drills or any form points that have been helpful to change your path, your trajectory?
For me, it all comes back to the elbow. It actually goes way back to me against the wall. The one thing that happens is I come down with the elbow, and if I drive with the elbow and not cast and allow my arm to go out, I flip it and I just allow it to come down, it's just night and day different. It really is. And here's the funny thing: when I get heavier, my form gets better on snatches, which is usually the opposite. Usually in snatches, the heavier you go, it gets uglier. On swings, it gets better. But for me, on snatches, it gets better. So I think I really suck in the lat and bring the elbow down on heavy snatches, and just, I don't know, works better.
You had posted something with one of your students, and this woman, she was working on her down portion of her snatch, and I thought, a brilliant thing. You got the wall, you got that corner in the ice hockey rink, or you got this yoga mat over a pull-up bar. I was like, that's brilliant, because you're not going to do any damage. It's not going to stop you, and it's an easy tool in the gym. People can access as part of their equipment. Kudos to you on that. I really thought that was a nice little touch.
I don't know if I thought of that I have no idea. It's just like all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I have a rack now. I can use it. It's kind of one of those things. So
yeah, well, it was good. Hey, if you didn't know it, you heard it here first, and there you go. Coach Cambio, yoga mat over the bar. We'll get your snatch tight.
Best drill ever.
Awesome. I think I want to open it up to some people to see if they have any questions. Anybody have any questions for Coach today?
A lot of crickets.
Yeah, no. Okay, that's all right.
I wanted to say thank you for reminding me about the T-Rex, because I keep forgetting to do that as a drill, because I have this tendency of having a super big arc when it comes to the snatch. So yeah, thank you. When you said that, I was like, oh my God, yes. So yeah.
Yeah, I just posted a video of my client doing the mat drill. It works so well. It's unbelievable. So
yeah, that's something I need to work on for sure. So thank you.
Yep. Enjoy.
Let's talk about maces. I saw at least 2 videos where you were making fun of you were making fun of Mace Dancing. Now I'm assuming you're fine with the modality because you like to mix up your training, you like to have fun. And it did seem was very respectful and was all in good fun. But tell me a little bit about what it is you're seeing. There seem to be some philosophical underpinnings behind that statement. If you can
well, yeah, I am 100% poking fun at my friends who, as I like to say, dance around with a mace or kettlebell in their flows. And, it's pure fun. I hate golf, but I'll go play with my friends and have fun and drink some beer with them, and I'll bust their beans the whole time. Doesn't mean I think they're the ones that are good at golf. I think they're ridiculous athletes. It's just, I don't like it. It doesn't mean I don't respect it. So with my friends, and I tag the ones who I'm friends with, and I just make fun of them because, I see them spinning around a little 12 or 15 pound mace and basically doing like, Jane Fonda aerobics from the 80s. There's nothing wrong with it. I just find it funny. Like, I don't know, like, it's just one of those things. So every now and then I like to kind of just push their buttons, jab them a little bit. But I gotta be honest, they've gotten me back too. They gave me some, I don't know, 100 and something pound mace, and I'm like, all right, I'll swing it, and I went flying. Like, of course they videoed that and they put that out there. So so my friends are very good at getting me back as well. So do I like to talk shit? Yes, I talk a lot of shit. Do I mean it? Of course I mean it. I think it's funny. I think you're dancing. Like, I'm of the school where, like, you lift to get something done, like stronger, faster, more explosive. And then you go play a sport to get all that other movement in. Like, like I don't dance around to, find my transverse plane and get unilateral and do all this stuff and shoulder mobility. No, I'm going to go outside and play basketball. I'm going to go chop wood. I'm going to go, put a new garden bed in for my wife. Like, that's what I do. So, yeah. Am I making fun of my friends with the mace? Of course I am. But are they getting me back when they put a heavy mace in my hand and I go flying and can't do it? Of course they are. They know that. So.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I like it. I think it's funny. So the pizza one really cracked me up, man.
Yeah.
I have a question when it comes to the obstacle course racing, specifically the Spartan, and you had mentioned this earlier, the skill required for the spear throw. How do you, just out of my own curiosity, how do you train people for that skill if you don't have a spear to throw?
All right. Well, there's a couple ways. One is real simple, is you make a spear. You go down to the hardware store, you buy a garden hoe. It's like a handle, and you take a 12-inch nail and you whack it in there, a little Gorilla Glue, you're good to go. Make a target out of it, go get some hay bales or whatever, and go out back and throw it. That's one way. The other way is throw a football. The football motion is by far the cleanest and the purest that simulates majority of people's throw in a Spartan race. There's obviously some other ways. You have people who throw it like a giant dart, which is very accurate as well, but you got to be really strong upper body. And then there is the pull cue technique, which literally is like underhand, like, the Rick Barry free throw. It's kind of like that, it's just a totally different thing. But if you want an athletic throw like a football, that's what I recommend. Not a baseball. Baseball always overthrows and rotates, and spear always goes way off to the side. But football throw is very pure, very close to an actual spear throw.
Awesome. Well,
yep.
Now I know. When it comes to your training, when you prioritize things, how important is having the fun for you?
Oh, it's got to be fun. Like, why else do you do it? Yes, there's days I just punch the clock because, I have a bigger goal, but it's you have to enjoy what you're doing. You have to be passionate about it. So I will say I struggled during COVID because for a while there, I had no one to work out with. I didn't have clients. You know, we were very isolated. And then one of my buddies I coached with decided he wanted to work out again. So I was like, thank God, I got someone else to work out. We've been working out since. So you may see him on the videos. Total newbie to kettlebell. So every now and then, you know, I post what he's doing just because it's so much improved. And he's got a bum leg. Like he can't even straighten his leg. And I get so many comments, oh, this guy's form stinks. And I'm like, dude, he can't even straighten his legs. Like, relax, you know, like
that's the funny part about it. There's lack of context sometimes. You know,
Yeah.
I know the videos you're talking about, and the guy I watched it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, you know, who knows what's going on?
He works hard and he's doing as best as he can. And for someone who can't straighten one of his legs, he does pretty damn good, like pretty damn well. So, but you know, it is what it is. I get it. Instagram, you know, everyone thinks you're posting everything to be perfect. I honestly post what I'm doing. Like what you see is what I'm doing. It's either me or my clients. That's what we're doing at that time. There's nothing like, very rarely have I ever planned anything. Like if you don't hear from me a while on Instagram, it means I'm just doing the same exact workout, and I don't want to post the exact same.
Yeah, this boring ass guy.
5 pounds, and to me, I'm all excited. I want 5 pounds up, but the rest of the world won't be too excited.
Yeah. I had a question about so you have a program, the Fab 5 program, kettlebell training.
I do.
Tell us what those are, and like why did you pick those 5 exercises? I mean, technically one of them could be 2 exercises, but I you know, see. But Fab 5 sounds good.
Yeah, let's be honest, it sounds awesome.
Yeah,
So,
everybody loves Michigan basketball,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. So, no, I created that simply because, well, it kind of goes back to what we're talking about. Like, you know, I make fun of Mace people and I make fun of flow people because, you know, I think people get confused. Like, what is a workout? And what is just like prep work, or what is active recovery work? So you get all these people who just post stuff online of these like flowing and this and that and that. And then I go into like one of the gyms I was subleasing at it for a while, and they're doing all this stuff online. And I'm like, oh, where'd you see that? Oh, you know, so-and-so. And I'm like, oh, so what'd you do for your workout? Like, this is my workout. I'm like, it's an 8-pound kettlebell. Like, how's that a workout? Like, we got a race in a month. What are you doing? You know, like, so I just started seeing a lot of this stuff where people doing like flows. I have no problem with flows. Like, I mess around with them once in a while. Like, you know, I love them for active recovery and just what I call athletic longevity. Just when I can't get outside doing stuff, specifically the winter, it gets me moving in all kinds of planes of motion. But it's a very light kettlebell. I'm not really getting any strength gains or power gains or anything else. It's just movement. So I created the Fab 5 because my philosophy is simple. If you can own the basics of kettlebells, you can make these awesome complexes, and you can do flows, and you can do all this stuff because you own the basics. Once you own the basics, that's like the base of the pyramid. Once you own them, I mean, it's up to you how high you want to build. So I picked the Fab 5, quite frankly, because before you guys are just talking about going to get your research in Strong First. Before, when you went to a kettlebell 1-day Strong First course, and then you went to the certification, there was a huge gap, I thought, from the course to the certification. Because in the course, we only did, you know, squat, clean, not even clean. We did squat, press, single leg deadlift, and 2-handed swings and get-ups. Like, that was basically it. So there was never any cleans. There was never any snatch technique. There was no double work. So when people got to the certification, they took the course and they practiced that and they were good at that, but they really struggled with getting to the next level of double bells, double cleans, double snatches, not double snatches for SFT1, but just snatches in general. I always felt there was a big gap. So I created the Fab 5 kind of to fill that gap. So after you do the 1-day course, you could do my Fab 5 course and you'd be ready for the SFG1 cert. And because originally the Fab 5 was only a single bell. So for those, we're talking Fab 5, I don't know if anybody knows what it is. So it's 5 swings right into 5 snatches, 5 cleans, 5 presses, 5 squats. So 25 reps, one side, and then you go right to the other side, 5 swings, 5 snatches, 5 cleans, 5 presses, 5 front squats. And that's one round. 50 reps. You kind of sit back, relax, take a few deep breaths. I love I Go, You Go for that, where you work out with a partner or just a 1-to-1 work-rest ratio. And I found that if you can get up to 5 rounds of the Fab Five, the Snatch Test is not so daunting anymore. Not at all. And I took one of my buddies who's doing taking his SFG. I trained him online for 3 months, and we went through the whole Fab Five course, single and double. And he crushed it. He first time ever getting 100 snatches in 5 minutes. And we never did it except for in the beginning and at the end of the Fab Five program. So there is a what the hell effect. You'll hear that all the time in Strong First World. But there's true. There's something to it. So when you're banging out 50 reps in about a minute and a half, that's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
And I just felt like it really honed in on the basics. And then if you go to double bells, double bell is a whole nother world. I mean, all of a sudden, I'm going from 24 kilo bell blasting through it to 224s or 220s at least, but 224s. Now I'm doing 106 pounds of load for 25 reps. That's pretty impressive when you think about it. So yeah. It just morphed into the double bell Fab Five. And if you can do 5 rounds of that, woo-hoo, wait till you feel the what the hell cardio effects from that. So
definitely going to give that a shot. No doubt. I'll tag you. It'll be my most interesting post where I probably bomb it after. Very good. Very good. Well, Roger, you got anything else?
I'm curious. So the Fab Five is this your current focus? Or are you focusing on anything else going forward? You mentioned on
Fab Five is not my personal training focus right now. It's just my business focus. What I'll be promoting again, because I keep updating it, keep sending new stuff in. So I just did some man maker stuff with the kettlebells. So pet peeve, I hate dumbbells, by the way. So I watch some stuff that people do with dumbbells, and I see if I can do it with kettlebells. And most of the time, what I do with kettlebells is way smoother and fluid and athletic than what are done with dumbbells. Man makers, Exhibit A. So if you watch someone do man makers with dumbbells, and you watch me do them with kettlebells, and I'm doing double 24, I guarantee you it's like, oh, that's smooth, that's fluid, that's athletic, and that's what I want it to be. I think there should be some style and grace in your training. It shouldn't just be this grunt work and, brutish strength, like I love brutish strength, but there can be some style to it, some flavor, without doing a 2-pound kettlebell and dancing or a mace. That's 3 pounds. I had to throw
that in. No doubt. Very good. Very good. Where can people find you if they wanted to join that course or just check out your stuff?
Yeah, go to coachcambio.com. Redoing the whole website. That's one thing COVID, I decided I'd finally actually be online. I was never online. I love live stuff. And now I'm like, all right, people keep asking for it. So I might as well do it. Might as well join the party. So I am officially online selling the Fab Five kettlebell course at coachcambio.com. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I am _red_gorilla, the red gorilla. That's me.
Nice. Why the red gorilla?
Well, that's something I can't get into.
Okay, that's fair.
Hair, but no.
You keep your hair short. I didn't know if you had like red hair.
I grew it out just so you can see that it's red. Okay, it's still red. No, so that was a college nickname. Just kind of happened because through my fraternity brothers. I was a little bigger back then. It's like 240-pound linebacker, and I was very red. Very long flowing locks, like could part down the middle kind of deal. Like it was long. Yeah.
Nice.
And I'm a little fuzzy. So, I take the shirt off. I'm fuzzy.
It never stops. Yeah. Well, I'm in the club.
Yeah. I'm very, very manly. Very manly. Very manly. Yeah. I see you girls laughing.
Very good. Very good. Well, I definitely learned a lot today and appreciate your insights into all the aspects. And, can't thank you enough for coming on and spending an hour with us today. Certainly, I think if anybody can lead this call, it's you, and that's getting more football players to do kettlebells and see the value in that. I think that's a huge space that's just wasted, and I think it's the mentality of the strength coaches that are still executing a lot of the programs, and maybe that'll change as time progresses. But
I hope so.
But it's up to guys like you and me, Coach. So with anything else, thanks to everybody for tuning in and showing up. And Coach, I appreciate you, and thanks again.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shoot me a message. Talk soon,
Absolutely.
guys.
Thanks, brother. Bye.